We don't make money boring, but it'll explain, Cinderella and wills and all that sort of stuff, and get you started on that direction, which is what most of they can just go to lesson of Cinderella, and we go through the fact that 80% of us do not have wills in place today. And that's what Cinderella's dad did, loved her, but I didn't have the estate planned and left her in that situation. And unfortunately for a lot of us, we're doing exactly the same thing because, and according to Forbes, it's because we're scared of the confronting questions. We don't want to deal with it. So we're saying have a glass of bubbles and just do it because it makes a massive difference. And the workbook will just, go through the areas you need to take care of, and then you can take that off and get a will done. It'll save you time and money because everything's already written out. You've already made your decisions. Talking to some, lawyers and estate planners, were saying that a lot of people come in to do it and then they have to go home and deal with the confronting questions, and a lot of them then never come back. So, I think it is really important. We usually, as women, will do more for everyone else that we love than ourselves. So I think it's using that and saying, well, that's not a problem. Let's get our estates done and do that. And that's completely free. The second one, we call it the condom strategy. That's about explaining all the ins and outs of the different insurances. So the names might change but also in the future. And that comes with a nice detailed workbook and all that sort of stuff as well. And that's completely free. We want people to share it with their friends. We've also got a Facebook page at Financially Fabulous where you can come and make comments, connect on LinkedIn and Twitter. Because I think it's just about, getting the girls together and deciding that, we'll do it together.
Now you have to went back. Let's go back for a second to the online. And the reason I want to go back to the online services is because I knew a person who went to, let's just say, one of the online car insurance places, thought she had full coverage. When she had an accident, found out that she wasn't covered for any actual damage to her car. So that was something that she had to come out of her own pocket for. It's great to be online. We had, like you said, there's a lot of opportunity there. But what do you recommend to the woman who's going to jump online and get the life insurance or the car insurance? If you don't know what to ask, how can you find out? What questions should you ask before you just assume you have certain coverage that you don't have?
Yeah, and it is all about the fine print. And I think you've got to take time to learn and educate yourself around money, or have someone who is educated around money look at those policies, because most of them, where it looks like you're saving a lot up front, the fine print will be the killer. It will. It won't cover you. I mean, there's one, income protection, and the difference in one word, it changes the policy dramatically, but, most of us do not protect our cash flow, and we get sick, and then all of a sudden we're in a real desperate hole and ready to lose our house. So you can get income protection, and most of us will insure our house, insure our cars, but we don't insure ourselves and our income, which is crazy, but it's a huge problem, globally. But there's one word in the policy, and that video will explain it, where if, say you're a lawyer or, whatever, you've studied, you've got a career, can go and work as a telemarketer.
Oh yes, I've
even if you're a doctor.
Right, because it's not your career or profession; it's any career or profession.
Yeah, yeah. And the price of the policies is massive. Different, but if you've spent a huge amount of money, on building a skill set, the last thing you want to do is have it all go to kaput and then find out that you're only covered basically if you could never work again in any occupation, which is almost impossible. You'd almost be dead for that to happen.
But meanwhile, you paid a lot of money to this company for years.
Yeah, because we're not taught to read the fine print, and people make the choice based on the price of the policy without understanding what they're covered for and what they're not covered for. So my advice is never buy anything until you know exactly. You need to find someone who can explain it to you in terms that you understand, because you could just be throwing money away. And that's what we're finding with a lot of the direct insurances in Australia, where people have thought they've done the right thing, thought they're covered, and then it's not until it's claim time that they find out that they're not covered. And it's quite dangerous. And it's interesting because they don't seem to be under the same legislative restraints that financial advisors are. I mean, we've got to have, a whole lot of being able to explain and show the journey and all that sort of stuff. And I know there's some excellent financial planners in America as well, and you guys have got LearnVest that you can use that they can't use in Australia, which has got some good education on there. But there is online education, but just look at who's teaching it and if it's relevant for you. But just start learning. And the first part of learning is just deciding that you're not going to be a victim of money. It's going to be your BFF instead. Because the thing is, when you do understand it and you do take really good care of it, it'll be there to take really good care of you.
Now, what do you
just about the income that's coming into the house. So if you're a stay-at-home mum and your partner's out doing all the work and bringing in the money, and you've got, a couple of children, what happens if something happened to you? What happens to Dad? Dad will have to, either employ someone, replace, all that sort of stuff. And there is a cost in that. So women need life insurance just as much as men do, even if they're stay-at-home mums. Often it's even more important, because our kids, raising